Have you ever watched someone you love, maybe even yourself, sit down to a plate of beautifully cooked fish thinking, this has to be good for me? Maybe it's grilled just right, drizzled with lemon, reminding you of family dinners, quiet evenings, or the comfort of tradition. For years, we've been told fish is one of the healthiest choices on the table, and most of the time, that's true. But here's something few people talk about, especially with older adults. As we age, our bodies change in quiet ways. The organs that once filtered out toxins with ease now work a little harder. Our immune system takes longer to respond. And sometimes foods we trusted for decades change too. Certain fish, yes, even the ones you see at your favorite market or restaurant, may carry risks that don't show up right away, but slowly take a toll on memory balance and heart health. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because the truth is, many older adults are eating these fish without realizing the impact. And just knowing what to avoid, just being a little more mindful, can make all the difference in how strong, clear, and energized you feel. So in today's video, we'll gently uncover 6 types of fish that may no longer belong on your plate. Some of them might surprise you. Others may already be favorites. But all of them deserve a closer look. If you care about your health or someone else's, stay with me. What you learn today might just change how you eat tomorrow. Fish number 1, king mackerel, the mercury trap. Picture this, it's a quiet Sunday afternoon. Your father, or maybe your husband, stands out on the patio flipping thick slices of king mackerel over a glowing charcoal grill. It's a familiar sight. For years, this routine has been his pride, his joy. He believes it's good for his heart, good for his brain, because after all, fish is supposed to be healthy, right? But then slowly, almost too quietly to notice, things begin to shift. He starts to forget where he put his glasses. He repeats the same stories. He feels more tired than usual, more irritable, more distant. His hands shake slightly as he lifts his morning coffee. At first, everyone blames it on aging. He's just getting older, you tell yourself. But what if the cause wasn't time? What if the very fish he believed was keeping him strong was actually chipping away at his well-being? King mackerel, though rich in flavor and tradition, carries one of the highest levels of mercury among all seafood. And while younger bodies may have the resilience to process that slowly accumulating metal, older adults face a different story. With age, our bodies become less efficient at eliminating toxins. That means mercury doesn't just pass through, it lingers. It builds. And over time, it can impair memory, damage nerves, slow coordination, and strain the heart. Many people confuse king mackerel with Atlantic mackerel. They sound similar, look alike in the seafood aisle, but nutritionally, they couldn't be more different. Atlantic mackerel is low in mercury, rich in omega-3s, and much safer for those over 60. But king mackerel, it's a hidden danger often sold without warning, quietly harming those who trust it most. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to empower you. Because while mercury can be dangerous, knowledge is your protection. If king mackerel is sitting in your freezer right now, don't feel guilty. Just know that now you have the power to make a better choice. There's no need to give up seafood. In fact, some fish can do wonders for your heart, brain, and bones. Wild-caught salmon, for instance, is packed with omega-3s that support memory and reduce inflammation. Sardines are another hero, low in mercury, high in calcium, and surprisingly delicious when paired with crackers or mixed into a salad. At this stage of life, food isn't just fuel, it's medicine, it's memory. It's the small decision that shapes how many more birthdays you get to enjoy with your grandchildren, how steady your hands feel when you lace your shoes, how clearly you speak your mind in a room full of family. Every bite matters, every choice adds up. So next time you're at the seafood counter, take a moment, ask the butcher, read the label, choose the fish that supports the life you want to live, not the one that quietly steals from it. Because protecting your health doesn't have to be complicated. It just takes awareness and the courage to say, I choose better. And remember, aging well isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about learning as you go and making new choices when you know better. Let this be one of those moments. And now let's move on to the second fish older adults should absolutely steer clear of, one that brings a whole different kind of danger. Fish number 2, tilefish, the hidden danger behind the fancy name. Imagine this, you're out at a lovely restaurant celebrating something meaningful. Maybe it's your birthday, your wedding anniversary, or simply a well-deserved night off from cooking. The menu arrives and you scan past the usual choices until your eyes land on something that sounds simple and wholesome, catch of the day or whitefish grilled in lemon butter. It feels like a safe, light choice, something your doctor might even approve of. So you smile, nod to the waiter and say, "I'll have that." But what you might not know is that you could be unknowingly choosing tilefish, a fish that, especially for older adults, can quietly bring more harm than health. Tilefish, particularly the variety caught in the Gulf of Mexico, is among the worst offenders when it comes to mercury content. In fact, it often contains even more mercury than king mackerel, a fish already known for its risks. And while mercury might sound like just another word from a news headline, its impact becomes very real the older we get. That's because as we age, our bodies become less efficient at clearing out heavy metals and toxins. What our systems once could tolerate without much fuss now lingers longer, settling deep into our tissues, especially in the brain. And that's where the real danger begins. Mercury doesn't just disrupt your body, it disrupts your clarity, your steadiness, your very sense of self. Over time, it can lead to troubling symptoms, numbness in the hands or feet, persistent fatigue, changes in vision or coordination, memory lapses, and in some cases, signs that eerily resemble early dementia. You may feel like you're slipping, forgetting familiar names, struggling to follow conversations, feeling unsteady on your feet, and not realize that your diet could be playing a quiet but powerful role. What makes tilefish even more insidious is how it's often presented. It doesn't shout its name from the menu. It hides behind vague terms, whitefish special catch or simply grilled fillet. And it usually comes dressed up on the plate, topped with herbs, a drizzle of sauce, maybe a small garnish of microgreens. It looks clean and elegant, and it often comes with a price tag that says quality. But as many of us have learned in life, just because something is expensive doesn't mean it's safe. And in the case of tilefish, that fancy label might be masking a risk you simply can't afford to take. So what can you do? The answer is surprisingly simple, and it starts with confidence. The next time you dine out, don't hesitate to ask, "What kind of whitefish is this?" Say it with kindness, say it with calm, but do say it. You have every right to know what's going on your plate, especially when it affects your brain, your balance, and your ability to stay sharp and independent. If they say it's tilefish, just smile and say, "I think I'll try something else." Ask for safer options like cod, haddock, or even trout. These fish are not only lower in mercury, they're easier to digest, full of clean protein, and still absolutely delicious. Because at this point in life, it's not just about filling your belly, it's about fueling your mind, protecting your memory, and preserving the energy that lets you wake up each morning with clarity and strength. It's about being here fully for your grandchildren's stories, for your quiet morning coffee, for the next beautiful chapter of your life. Choosing the right fish might seem like a small thing, but it's one of those quiet, powerful decisions that can add up to something extraordinary, a life that stays clear, steady, and full of light. Now let's move on to a fish that sounds elegant, maybe even a little luxurious, but behind that refined name is a tangled web of risks no older adult should overlook. Fish number 3, swordfish. The elegant threat to your health. There's something undeniably majestic about the word swordfish. It brings to mind a dish served on fine china, maybe under the soft lights of a cruise ship dining room, or at a family celebration where you've dressed up and told yourself, "Tonight I'll treat myself." For many older adults, swordfish feels like a special indulgence, rich in flavor, high in protein, and elegant enough to mark a moment. And in that moment, it might even feel like you're doing something good for your body. After all, it's seafood, right? But behind that sleek image lies a quiet danger that many don't realize until it's too late. Swordfish is one of the ocean's largest and oldest predatory fish. And the longer a fish lives, the more time it has to absorb mercury and other toxins from the food chain. Year after year, bite after bite, it accumulates heavy metals from smaller fish. By the time that firm, buttery fillet reaches your plate, it's often carrying a mercury load that's alarmingly high, especially for someone in their 60s, 70s, or beyond. Now here's the part that really matters. Mercury doesn't leave your body quickly, especially not as we age. Our metabolism slows down, our kidneys work harder, and our systems simply aren't as efficient as they once were. That means mercury doesn't just pass through, it settles, it lingers, and it does its damage silently. It targets the nervous system, it affects memory, It can dull mental clarity, create tremors, and contribute to symptoms that look and feel a lot like cognitive decline or early dementia. If you or someone you love is already managing high blood pressure, kidney stress, or memory issues, swordfish could quietly be making those problems worse. And here's the dangerous myth many folks believe. If I cook it well, that should take care of anything harmful, right? Sadly, that's not how mercury works. It's not a germ you can kill with heat. It's a metal. Whether your swordfish is a grilled, broiled, or pan-seared with garlic and herbs, the mercury remains. No seasoning, no temperature, no recipe can erase it. And no amount of lemon juice can protect your brain once it's already there. But this doesn't mean you have to give up the pleasure of a hearty, satisfying fish dinner. You still deserve meals that are rich in taste and full of joy. It just means choosing better allies for your health. Instead of swordfish, try trout, especially rainbow trout or pollock. These fish offer the same satisfying texture and deep flavor, but without the toxic load. They're low in mercury, high in omega-3s, and easy on the kidneys and heart. With the right herbs, a squeeze of lemon, and maybe a light pan fry in olive oil, they can taste just as luxurious, without the cost to your health. At this stage in life, food becomes more than fuel. It becomes protection. Every meal is an opportunity, a chance to support your memory, your stability, your independence. And it doesn't mean giving up the things you love. It means making gentle adjustments, smart swaps, thoughtful choices that let you enjoy not just today's dinner, but tomorrow's energy, clarity, and peace of mind. And speaking of popular choices, the next fish on our list is one you've probably seen everywhere, from sushi counters to buffet tables. Sleek, trendy, and favored by seafood lovers of all ages, it might look like the healthiest choice in the room. But for older adults, its risks run deeper than most realize. Let's take a closer look. Fish number 4, ahi tuna big eye. Tuna, the sushi favorite with a hidden price. Let's talk about a fish that many don't expect to find on this list. Ahi tuna, also known as big eye tuna. Now, if you're someone who enjoys a sushi night now, and then you're not alone. Sushi isn't just for the younger crowd anymore. In fact, these days, it's become a social experience for people of all ages. Maybe you've joined friends at a sleek sushi bar. Maybe you've sat across from your kids or grandkids enjoying beautifully presented platters with slices of that deep red tuna, thinking, this feels fresh, light, even healthy. But beneath that vibrant color and delicate flavor lies a set of risks that older adults simply can't afford to overlook. Here's what most people don't realize: big eye tuna sits high on the food chain, much like swordfish. And that means something important. It spends years absorbing mercury from the ocean, from the smaller fish it eats, and from the water it travels through. The result: by the time it reaches your plate, that tender-looking piece of fish could be carrying some of the highest mercury levels of any tuna on the market. And as you already know, mercury is no small matter, especially not after 60, when our bodies become slower at filtering out toxins, and even small amounts can build up and start affecting our brain, our balance, and our memory in ways we don't always expect. But that's just one side of the story, because unlike swordfish or king mackerel, ahi tuna is often served raw. That's part of its appeal, the soft texture, the clean taste. But raw fish carries a different set of risks. We're talking bacteria and parasites that can slip into the body quietly and cause serious trouble. In your younger years, your immune system might have been strong enough to shrug off a mild infection. But as we age, our defenses weaken. Something that used to feel like a mild stomach bug can suddenly become a multi-day illness, or worse, a hospitalization. Listeria, Salmonella, Anisakis. These aren't just names. They're infections that hit harder, linger longer, and do more damage in an older body. And here's where it gets even more confusing. You see, not all tuna is created equal. People hear tuna and assume it's safe, healthy, good for the heart. But the type makes all the difference. Big eye and albacore tuna, the kind often served in sushi restaurants or seared in high-end dishes, are high in mercury. They may be flavorful, but they come at a cost. On the other hand, skipjack tuna, which is what you'll usually find labeled as light tuna in cans, is much safer. It's lower in mercury, easier to digest, and far more forgiving for older organs. So what's the takeaway? You don't have to give up tuna altogether. If you or someone you care for enjoys it, choose wisely. Reach for canned light tuna and stick to no more than 2 servings per week. And if you're craving that clean flavor, prepare it gently, but cook it. Cooking helps reduce bacterial risk while still giving you the satisfaction of a fish you love. Because at this stage in life, every bite matters. You've earned the right to enjoy your meals, but you've also earned the right to protect your clarity, your comfort, and your confidence. Choosing a different type of tuna might feel like a small shift, but over time it can make a powerful difference in how you feel and how well your body holds up in the years ahead. And now let's talk about a fish that may not carry the glamour of sushi, but is one of the most widely consumed around the globe. It's affordable, versatile, and found in nearly every supermarket. But the way it's raised and what's hidden behind those bargain prices might make it one of the most dangerous choices of all for older adults. Fish number 5, farmed salmon, a risk wrapped in pink. You've seen it dozens of times. Maybe just last week as you strolled on through the seafood section at your local grocery store. There it was, a neatly packaged fillet of salmon, its color, a perfect coral pink, the price surprisingly low. It looks fresh, it looks healthy. And for many of us, the thought is almost automatic, salmon is good for me. But here's something the label won't tell you, something that's especially important if you're over 60. Not all salmon is created equal. And when that salmon is farm-raised, especially from countries with looser regulations, like Chile or some parts of Southeast Asia, you could be getting far more than you bargained for. Let's take a closer look. Farmed salmon are raised in underwater pens, crowded confined spaces where thousands of fish live shoulder to shoulder, unable to swim freely, constantly surrounded by waste and stress. To keep disease at bay in such unnatural conditions, farmers often turn to antibiotics. Not in moderation, but in quantities that would make your family doctor cringe. And that feed they're given, it's not wild plankton or sea creatures. It's processed pellets often made from cheap byproducts, sometimes even ground-up poultry waste and genetically modified ingredients. Here's something else that might surprise you. That beautiful pink hue we associate with salmon. It doesn't appear naturally in many farm fish. Their flesh is actually a dull gray. So to make it more appealing, chemical colorants are added to the feed, yes, artificial dyes, just to make the salmon look like what we expect salmon to look like. And sadly, this is only the surface. That same feed is frequently contaminated with dangerous industrial pollutants, PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls and dioxins chemicals, linked to hormone disruption, immune system suppression, and in more severe cases, cancer. Now imagine how these toxins affect an older adult. A body that has already weathered decades of wear, a heart that may already be working harder, joints that ache more easily, and an immune system that isn't quite as strong as it once was. For a younger person, these toxins are a concern. But for seniors, they can quietly worsen inflammation, intensify arthritis, strain cardiovascular health, and increase the body's toxic burden when it can least afford it. And yet the confusion persists. People hear salmon and think omega-3s, brain food, heart support, and they're not wrong. In the right form, salmon is a nutritional powerhouse. But that's the key, the right form. Because when salmon is farm-raised in unhealthy environments, loaded with antibiotics, chemicals, and artificial coloring, it stops being a source of healing and becomes a hidden threat. So what's the better path forward? Look for wild-caught Alaskan salmon. It's not just a buzzword, it's your best protection. Wild salmon grow naturally in clean, cold waters, feeding on marine life the way nature intended. That means no dyes, no antibiotics, and significantly fewer contaminants. They're leaner, richer in natural omega-3s, and better for the environment too. Yes, it may cost a bit more at the register, but when weighed against your long-term health, your energy, your clarity, it's a small price to pay for peace of mind. As we age, every choice matters more. And when it comes to what we eat, those choices shape how we feel, how we move, and how we live each day. So the next time you're faced with 2 pieces of salmon, take a moment. Look a little closer. Because behind that pretty pink fillet, there's a story. And when you choose the one that respects your body, your years, and your future, you're not just buying fish. You're investing in more time, more strength, and more memories still to come. Now let's talk about one last fish. This one might stir up emotions because for many seniors, it's more than a meal. It's nostalgia, a flavor from childhood, a taste of simpler times. But in today's world, even comfort food deserves a second look. Fish number 6, Imported catfish. When comfort food comes with a hidden cost. Picture this. It's Saturday afternoon, and your grandfather is standing by the stove, just like he has for decades. The smell of sizzling catfish fills the kitchen. Crispy edges, golden breading, that unmistakable scent that brings everyone to the table. For so many families, fried catfish isn't just a meal, it's a tradition. It's laughter echoing in the kitchen, stories told over seconds, and the quiet comfort of something familiar. But what if the catfish that once nourished our memories isn't nourishing our bodies anymore? What if when it's imported, it's actually putting our loved ones at risk? Here's the part most people never hear. Imported catfish, especially from certain parts of Asia, is often raised in conditions that would never be allowed here in the United States. Picture overcrowded ponds, murky water, and fish-fed pellets made from questionable ingredients. To keep disease under control in such environments, farmers rely heavily on antibiotics, some of which are banned here due to their links to antibiotic resistance, liver stress, and long-term health complications. These antibiotics don't just disappear when the fish is processed. They remain in the flesh, and when eaten, they silently enter our bodies. Now think about how that affects someone in their 70s or 80s. Our immune systems naturally weaken with age. What might cause mild digestive upset in a younger person could lead to serious illness in a senior, potentially even hospitalization. Drug-resistant bacteria are no longer abstract threats. For older adults, they can be life-altering. And yet imported catfish remains widely available, affordable, accessible, and often bought in bulk because it seems like a smart financial choice. But that bargain at the grocery store? It might come at the cost of your health or the well-being of someone you love. So what's the better path forward? It's simple. Choose U.S. farmed catfish. American fish farms are held to far stricter standards. Water quality is tested, feed is regulated. The use of antibiotics is monitored and limited. It's not perfect, but it's safer. And no matter where your catfish comes from, always cook it thoroughly. A well-cooked fillet doesn't just taste better, it reduces your risk of bacterial exposure, especially for older adults with slower digestion or existing health conditions. Comfort food should bring comfort, not consequences. And after everything we've covered today, from mercury in king mackerel and tilefish, to toxins in farmed salmon and bacteria in raw tuna, this final lesson brings it all home. Because at the core of every meal isn't just nutrition, it's connection, it's care, it's legacy. Think for a moment about someone you love. Maybe it's your mother who still chooses salmon, believing it's always healthy. Or your grandfather who never misses his weekly fried catfish lunch. They're doing their best. They're sticking to what they know, but now you know more. And that knowledge is powerful. This isn't about fear. It's not about shame. It's about taking gentle, loving control. It's about saying we can do better together. Because love, especially in these later chapters of life, looks like this: reading the fine print on a label, asking where the fish came from, choosing the version that supports the years we still have ahead. This is how we protect our memories, our clarity, our energy. Not with big dramatic changes, but with one small choice at a time. So tonight, open your fridge, check the freezer, read the label on that can in your pantry. Swap just one item. Talk about it with someone you love. Share what you've learned, not as a warning, but as an invitation. An invitation to age with strength, with awareness, with intention. Because no matter your age, your health story is still being written, and every bite you take is part of that story. So let it be a story of wisdom, of care, of honoring your body in the most ordinary yet powerful way possible. You still have choices. You still have influence. And starting today, you can choose food that doesn't just taste good, but helps you feel good, live well, and stay strong for all the moments still to come. Let's take a quiet breath and reflect. Today we uncovered 6 types of fish that may seem harmless, even comforting, but can carry real risks as we grow older. From hidden mercury to harmful bacteria, these aren't just food choices, they're health decisions. If one of these fish has been part of your routine, don't worry, now you know. And that knowledge is a gift. Comment noted and ready if you're taking one small step today. And if this video helped you feel more confident, consider subscribing to stay connected. You're not alone on this path, and the next video will help you build on this one with even more simple choices that protect your future. Keep going. You're doing beautifully.